You were in a taxi.
Yes.
You were dragged by another person?
By the taxi. I was getting out, he took off.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You were getting out and he just took off. And so then what
He
happened?
dragged me 2.5 feet. There were men across the street at a factory who used to see me come to work and get out of the taxi every day. And they would be, "Hi, miss, you look pretty today, miss," and all of that. I was going in to teach kids dance. And they stopped, they ran out in front and banged on the hood and that, and he stopped.
Hi, and welcome back to the Be the Train podcast with Selena Ringel. Super excited for our guest today, Shawn LaRe Brinkley Seals, who is a marriage counselor and trauma specialist. And she also started a nonprofit. So she's going to tell us a little bit about all of that. So I'm really, really excited to have her here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So we're going to dive a little bit into what you do. But before we do that, I always like to start the podcast by asking people, what does Be the Train mean to you?
Ooh, so I absolutely love that, by the way.
Thank you.
When I was thinking about Be the Train, the podcast, what came to mind for me is being a catalyst and the vehicle to get from one place to another. And of course, I'm thinking of in your life, in your career, in your growth, and doing that for yourself, being a stand for getting that done.
So, and how do you feel you have been the train in your life?
Ooh, that's good. Let me see. Well, I think that I have been always my own advocate in many ways.
Yeah.
There have been other ways where I've had to learn to be my own advocate.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what I want to do, I grew up with parents, amazing parents, who always said to me, "You can do anything you want."
I love that.
And really driving me toward that. If I was asking questions and things that I could have found out on my own, they made sure that I would go and find out on my own.
Yeah.
They would encourage me to do that. And sometimes they'd be silent and look at me and go, "I don't know. You go figure it out." You know, that kind of thing. And so having that behind me, it has always driven me to be curious.
Yeah.
And to want to know and to want to push myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. I grew up in a small town in Ohio.
Okay.
And so I'm being a Black girl in this small town, in the suburbs. I always had to be, advocating for myself and make loud noise, not to be ignored and that sort of thing. And so I think it was just the way I'm built.
Well, I think it's interesting. I have a 5-year-old son, and there are moments with him where we are at a restaurant, for example, and he'll ask me, he'll be like, "Oh, do you think they have, strawberry buttercream ice cream?" Something that's so specific that, they would never have at this restaurant. But I always say, I don't know, you should ask. Because I want him to learn the skill of asking. And I also want him to learn that people are going to say no, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean he shouldn't stop asking.
Yes.
He's got to keep asking. And sometimes I even tell him, because he'll go, "Oh, they said they didn't have it." And I go, "Well, is there a way to problem solve this?" Because I want him to start thinking beyond the thing itself. Like maybe there's a version of vanilla ice cream with strawberries. That's not exactly what he wanted, but could be similar and could resolve the thing you wanted. So I think, definitely thinking in those terms is really helpful.
I love that you do that, because one of the things that I'm noticing about generations coming up now is that they don't problem solve.
Yeah.
They accept the no.
Yes.
And
100%.
they roll over.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm glad you're teaching him that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Definitely. Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you got into this.
I'm a licensed marriage family therapist. I entered the field very late. So I'm in school with a lot of folks who could be my kid.
Yeah.
But I was 50 years old when I decided to go back and get my master's.
Wow.
I had gotten fired from an amazing job that did not appreciate me, clearly.
Okay.
And I was kind of thinking, what's next? I ended up falling into like a job teaching.
Okay.
They lost their funding.
Okay.
So I created a program myself using music, things that I love. Jewelry making, French, and music.
Cool. Well, I
Pitched
can
it.
see from like what you're wearing, you have a very fun style.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I chose things that I liked and I pitched it to a school that I would use these things to teach kids communication skills.
Yeah.
Life skills and just behavior. And so they told me I couldn't do it at the schools, but they gave me access to an after school program.
Okay.
And they gave me 3 weeks at each school
Okay.
in the San Fernando Valley. And I would go and teach this. But I kept thinking, ooh, kids are having problems. There's a lot of things that I started noticing that I didn't have to contend with in Toledo, Ohio in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And so I kept hearing my grandmother who said, to she who much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
Kept hearing that voice in my head, thinking you should be doing more, you should be doing more. And then fell across an ad to go back and get a master's degree, and I filled it out, and then I was bombarded with schools. And one girl insisted that I come to meet her on the campus, and I left enrolled in this program. So I
love it.
Realized, though, that it is possibly what everything in my life was leading me to.
Yeah.
Including trauma.
Yeah.
And so it just fit. It fit really well. And I ended up here.
Amazing.
Yes.
And do you have kids?
I have stepchildren.
Okay.
And they're all adults.
Okay.
And even my grandchildren are adults now.
Oh, God.
So but I've always been everybody's mom, everybody's auntie. You know what I mean? And so it's always been that for me.
Yeah.
And so I landed, I think, where I belonged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of times people are very impatient and they're kind of waiting for like their moment in their life. They're kind of like a life-changing opportunity moment. And I'm curious, like, you're saying that this version of you kind of came later, but it was really like you needed to go through everything you needed to go through to get to that point. So what's like maybe something you would say to someone who's right now in this like impatient moment of like wanting to know what's their big opportunity, what's their big life-changing moment?
I would tell them that they have to think about what they've been through already, what they've learned, and how they can make their opportunity happen.
Yeah.
How they can be the train, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. So how have you felt like you've made certain opportunities happen for yourself in your life?
It's kind of a crazy thing. I have ADHD.
Okay.
I tell people I have ADHD all day and twice on Sundays. So I didn't know. I had no idea. I was 58 years old teaching.
Wow.
Marriage family therapist.
You were 58 years old?
Oh, girl, yeah.
How old are you now?
I am
We have to talk about skin routine later. Oh my God. Okay.
66 with a bullet.
Oh
as
my
I always
goodness.
say.
Wow.
Yes, no,
You look
60
incredible.
Thank you. I turned 66 in February.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hashtag goals.
Okay.
Um,
But I was teaching marriage family therapists at a college level, and I told them my class was culture, attachment, and trauma. I said, okay, get out your DSM-5s. We're going to look at the difference between ADHD and the disruptive behavior disorders.
yeah.
And so they did. And I told them to give me the criteria. I was going to write it on the board. So I wrote the first one. I wrote the second one. I slowed down. I wrote the third one. I was like, uh-oh. I wrote the fourth one. I was like, oh, shoot, that's me.
Oh, no.
Of course, these therapy students were like, yes, indeed.
Wait, so what is the criteria? I actually
Well,
don't know.
it starts projects and stops.
Okay.
Kind of moves as though being driven by a motor.
Okay.
Talks a lot.
Okay.
Can't sit still. Needs to move in settings where sitting still is expected.
Okay.
All of those things.
Interesting.
And I was all of that.
Interesting.
And had always been all of that. But again, back to my parents in school, when the teachers would call and say, hey, Shawn LaRe is walking around the classroom, and they'd be like, well, did she do her work? And they'd be like, yeah. Well, okay, here's what you do. This is what we do at home. She doesn't do this at home. This is why. This is what we do. And so they would tell them, keep her busy, give her things, send her to the principal's office with a note, all those things. And so my teachers would be like, whew, this one, but here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so they were the best parents for a kid with ADHD, not knowing,
That's what you had. Yeah.
not even knowing that was a thing.
Yeah.
And being a Black family, there's no such thing as therapy. You don't need that. And don't be talking to nobody about what's going on in this house.
Yeah.
All of that, you know. But it actually, they couldn't have been better parents for someone like me.
Yeah.
They never made me wrong. They never made me quiet.
Yeah.
It was like, this baby talks a lot. Keep her busy.
Yeah.
You know, and so thank God for them.
Yeah.
But then I began to run into children
Yeah.
who were put in this other pile as behavior problems. And nobody was checking to see what was going on. And so I wanted these new therapists coming into this business to know what to do with children like that and how to help them.
Yeah.
Not realizing, oh, girl, that's you all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it made my whole life make sense to me.
Yeah.
And
you were like, oh, this is what's been going on.
Yes, this is why they fired you.
Yeah.
This is why you quit.
Yeah.
This is why you've never had a real job for any period of time. And this is why you've been able to create a job out of anything and everything as it relates to just who I really am.
Yeah.
And so I am so grateful that I have been able to live my life that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so great for my retirement fund, but I found other ways to make that work.
So tell us a little bit about your nonprofit.
So I started the nonprofit after losing my first husband.
Okay.
He passed away during COVID.
Okay.
To COVID.
Oh, wow.
He was an amazing man. He was very eclectic like myself and just a really great and joyful spirit. And I wanted to do something to commemorate his life. And I chose to live my life to celebrate and honor his own. Yeah. And so I started the William Joseph Brinkley Center for Cultural Affirmation.
Okay.
And it's a therapy concern. So we do low-cost, affordable therapy for people who might not otherwise understand how to get funding for therapy, who might not have insurance, all those things, and who might not even want to sit in anybody's chair and talk to them about anything going on in their lives.
Yeah, but it's so important. Yes. I think it's very interesting to me because it makes sense that, you know, the people who need therapy the most in some ways are the people who aren't even being exposed to it in any way.
Absolutely.
And so, because so much of understanding ourselves and bettering ourselves is being able to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. So much of what education is in certain parts of the world is like, let's not talk about anything that's not working so that we don't have to face it.
Exactly.
But without facing it, how are we supposed to thrive or get better or understand our triggers or our wounds or, you know, so that's what a blessing to everybody who needs it.
Yes, I'm so excited to be able to do it. And in that entity, we train therapists. So I take students who are in their practicum. That's when you first start seeing clients.
Yeah.
And so I have contracts with different colleges and universities, and they do their practicum with me. Yeah. Many of them turn into associate therapists after they graduate. Then they go on to be employees and actually get paid to work there.
Yeah.
We also work now with nurse practitioner students, psychiatric nurse practitioner students, and they get to do their psychotherapy rotation with me.
Amazing.
And so it's turned out to kind of have legs of its own. Yeah. And I love that. One of the things that is also something that we are advocates for is affirmation and affirming people of color. Yeah. A lot of people of color don't get that either at home or even if they got it at home, they get out into the world and society is not affirming them. Yeah. And there's this invisible layer that we sort of often find ourselves living in. Yeah. And so helping people to really build themselves on, there's a term that I have in my coaching that I do, and I call it your stepping into your who you are-ness. Yeah. And I believe it's helping people to understand their God-given, God-driven purpose, like making sure that they land in the spot where they belong, because I have been able to do that. Yeah. And for me, it's never been having a job. It's never been working for someone else. Yeah. Probably as a 66-year-old woman, I probably have had less hours on the job than most people my age ever will have. And even people younger, way younger than I.
Yeah.
But I've always been able to be self-employed. And so I'm really grateful for that and use my creativity and curiosity and all of that to make money.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful
amazing.
thing. Yes.
Potentially doing a talk together. What was your talk going to be about?
So the title of my talk was "Joy is My Defiance." From crowns to crutches and back.
Okay, so just tell me like a little something about that.
Well, so I'm a former beauty queen.
Okay.
I have 11 crowns.
I love that. Oh, wow. Like you literally have 11 physical crowns.
I do.
I love that.
And some of them are little tiaras, but still.
Okay.
And yes, and I entered beauty pageants my senior year in high school because my mother said, do this. And I loved my mom and wanted to do what she wanted to do, but I was like, horrible tomboy, but I had been to charm school and I had done some modeling and stuff. And so I ended up winning.
Yeah.
So I am, let's see, Miss Black Toledo, Miss Black Ohio, runner up to Miss Ohio in the pageant in Ohio, the Miss America of Ohio pageant. I am Miss Empire State because I moved to New York and finished college there, and they had a pageant there. And you mentioned Cannes in our off camera time. And I was actually, my grand prize was to the Cannes Film Festival.
Amazing.
And 2 weeks in Paris. So,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Yes. Was that a really amazing experience?
My gosh, it was the most amazing thing.
I mean,
the most
Cannes
amazing
is the best.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been a couple of times. It's an amazing experience.
It is. And I was always pouting because I had to go to the movies in an evening gown. And with a crown on my head.
I love that.
But it was for a good purpose. So yeah.
So what is joy is my defiance.
Because
so what does that mean?
After being in beauty pageants and having this great body and being a dancer and an aerobics instructor and all of that, I was in several accidents that left me unable to move and do those things, unable to walk for a while in a wheelchair, layer crutches, gaining 100 pounds.
Oh my God, what kind of
and
accident?
having a whole new life. Well, the first one, I was a passenger in a taxi, and getting out, I was dragged 2.5 feet and the wheel ran over my calf. That was number one.
You were in a taxi.
Yes.
You were dragged by another person?
By the taxi. I was getting out and he took off.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You were getting out and he just took off. And so then what happened?
He dragged me 2.5 feet. There were men across the street at a factory who used to see me come to work and get out of the taxi every day. And they would be, "Hi, miss, you look pretty today, miss," and all of that. I was going in to teach kids dance. And they stopped. They ran out in front and banged on the hood and that, and he stopped.
But he just didn't notice you were getting out?
I don't think he intended to drag me, but I think he was upset with me because I did not tip him.
And he was just trying to rush off or something.
Yes.
And he wasn't aware that you were still in the car.
Exactly. So being in a hospital 30 days, traction, the whole bit, leaving in a wheelchair, later crutches. Then got in a taxi the first time, took the taxi to New Jersey because we live in New York, but we live close enough to New Jersey to go to the outlet malls, and coming back to go to my favorite restaurant. And we were hit from behind by a truck and pushed into the pole.
Oh my God.
So that was number 2.
Oh my God.
That was 5 days in the hospital. And the 60 pounds that I had lost in the 2 years, I gained back. So back to 100 pounds heavier. And then lost 60 pounds and got myself better and movement, and started teaching full figure women fitness in their homes.
Okay.
And on my way to meet a client, leaving Harlem, getting my hair braided, I crossed the street and a produce truck turned left and hit me. I went up in the air, came down the mirror. I hit my head on the mirror and landed flat on my back. Now, Selena, one man saw this and ran and stopped traffic because the light changed. So I am what people call the miracle baby.
That is
because he stopped the traffic, and I was unconscious, and then later ended up in the hospital with no memory of anything, and had names in my phone book or in my address book that I was planning to meet my friends later for Bible study, thank God. And they called them.
Wow.
And they came to the hospital.
That is, I mean, those all three of those sound like near-death experiences.
They were pretty bad.
Yeah.
They
I'm so
were
glad you're
very sad.
here.
Well, here's the thing, I realized though that through all of that, I didn't know unhappiness and trauma and all of that. I made it through with joy.
Yeah.
Even in losing my late husband, I chose joy as my way of healing.
Yeah.
And so joy is my defiance.
Yeah.
I defy life through joy, and even through crutches, through beauty queen crowns, crutches, and back, I'm still a very joyous person. And that is such a gift for me.
Beautiful story. Well, we're running out of time, but if you could give, this is my last question, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone who is really passionate about something, wanting to start something, what do you wish someone would have told you that would have helped you throughout now everything you've lived and gone through?
Oh boy, what do I wish someone would have told me? It always ends up the way it is supposed to. You just have to start.
Yeah.
I think that has been the way that I have gotten through any and everything.
Yeah.
I was fired by a major jewelry concern after being there for 10 years, the longest I'd ever been at any one place.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking there has to be something better.
Yeah.
There has to be something better, and you just have to trust.
Yeah.
And go for it.
Thank you.
That's how I've lived my life.
Thank you. Well, if you can let everybody know where to find you and where they can find your work or your services if they need it.
Shawn LaRe Brinkley to Google me. My website is livinglovedhealing.org. And for the lower cost services at WJB Center, it's wjbcenter.com. And Instagram is at Living Loved Healing. Facebook is at Living Loved Healing. I think TikTok is my name, Shawn LaRe Brinkley. And LaRe, Shawn LaRe is one name. It's like Marianne, only fancier. So it's ShawnLare. And you have to spell it that way because I get sad if you don't. Thank you so much, sweetie.